Dr. Dylan Toussaint. The Morning Watch today is brought to you by Home and Things. Get everything you need to renovate your space with brands you know, brands you can trust. Visit us at 17 Old Hope Road and Constant Spring Road. Also, Chris and Charles, when you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
Teachers, teachers, teachers. The Chris and Charles double deal is here for you. Borrow $1 million from Chris and Charles and get 30% off your processing fees. Pay less than $25,000 monthly or borrow $575,000 and pay $12,595 monthly. No guarantor needed. Conditions apply. Offer ends May 31, 2023. Call 876-920-4189 for details. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
Save in style every time you shop at Home and Things. Find all the top brands at the best prices. Grab a deal on porcelain, ceramic and mosaic tiles, fixtures and faucets for kitchen and bathroom, windows and doors, lighting, home decor and more. Yes, you can save in style on just about everything in store. Old Hope Road and Constant Spring Road. Shop for store-wide savings today at Home and Things. Brands you know, brands you can trust.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org, and if you're overseas and on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541, or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, nuclear power to the rescue of our electricity needs. And in the second watch, the value of social media to any business. For our social media question, we ask, are you for or against nuclear power generation? Why or why not? We're asking you to share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's our quote.
Good morning, good morning. Today's I quote is an inspiration quote, and it says, dress how you want to be addressed. And this is by Bianca Fraser. Again, dress how you want to be addressed.
Okay. Good morning, Jukal.
Good morning, good morning. How are you?
I'm well, Do you dress how you want to be addressed?
Of course, definitely.
By the way, I'm curious, what are your views on the social media question?
Are you for or against nuclear power?
Yeah.
Whew. All right. It's gonna be new. It's gonna be a new move. I can't say if I'm for or against it as yet. I'd have to do some more research on it. But it's gonna be a new implementation that's gonna take some time.
Yeah. So, yeah. More reason why you're gonna listen intently to the first watch, right?
Definitely.
Which will be back after this break.
This Wednesday at 11 a.m. on Good Morning Minister, host Minister Robert Morgan speaks with Senator the Honorable Aubin Hill, Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce. Remember to call or text in with your comments, questions and concerns. That's Good Morning Minister, Wednesday, May 17 at 11 a.m. on the family station, Love 101.
Here is your opportunity to connect with someone who will listen, pray, and give guidance. It's the Ministry of Counseling and Prayer of the Edgewater Baptist Church. Please call 876-220-6474 or 876-332-7956. Weekdays between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Please talk to someone if you're finding it particularly challenging to cope during this period of crisis. Someone is waiting for your call. Please reach out today. 876-220-6474 or 876-332-7956. It's the telephone counseling and prayer ministry of the Edgewater Baptist Church. A reminder that somebody cares. Endorsed by Love 101.
When I come to the end of myself, Father, carry me.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. How high is your electricity bill at home or at work? How are you able to pay it? What conservation methods have you employed to get it to that level? Do you envision your demand for more electricity increasing? Are you open to another or a different solution? Well, how about nuclear energy? To discuss these matters this morning, we have online Mr. David Barrett, Certified Energy Manager, and Mr. Jason Robinson, CEO of Solar Buzz Jamaica, Vice President of Jamaica Renewable Energy Association, JREA. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Toussaint.
Great morning. Good to have both of you with us. Now, let's see if we can hit the ground running. For those who do not know or may have forgotten, what really or what is nuclear power all about? And how does it really work in regards to energy production? Let me throw that at Mr. Robinson.
All right. Dr. Toussaint, allow me 60 seconds to give you a definition that I thought was a very basic and good one that I pulled off of actually National Geographic's website. Because I'm not a nuclear physicist, but would you allow me 60 seconds?
Well, go ahead.
So basically, matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. Most of the matter in the universe is made of atoms. Nuclear energy is the energy in the nucleus or core of an atom. Atoms are tiny units that make up all matter in the universe, and energy is what holds the nucleus together. There is a huge amount of energy in an atom's dense nucleus. Nuclear energy can be used to create electricity, but it must first be released from the atom in the process of nuclear fission. Atoms are split to release that energy. A nuclear reactor or power plant is a series of machines that can control nuclear fission to produce electricity. The fuel that nuclear reactors use to produce nuclear fission is pellets of the element uranium. In a nuclear reactor, atoms of uranium are forced to break apart. As they split, the atoms release tiny particles called fission products. Fission products cause other uranium atoms to split, starting a chain reaction. The energy released from this chain reaction creates heat. Rods of material called nuclear poison can adjust how much electricity is produced. Nuclear poisons are materials such as a type of the element xenon that absorbs some of the fission products created by nuclear fission. The more rods of nuclear poison that are present during the chain reaction, the slower and more controlled the reaction will be. Removing the rods will slow a stronger chain reaction and create more electricity. So that is basically a basic definition of nuclear energy.
I see. Put that in English now. I don't know, Mr. Barrett, you want to say more on that?
Sure. So if I can sort of minimize it to say that we're really looking at a metal in particular that we call it a heavy metal. And to some extent, it has some instability within it. And you have your nucleus, you have your protons, you have your electrons. And so because of some level of, I'll use the word instability within that atom, that molecule actually, it tends to release energy. And so as it releases energy, it actually creates a kind of chain reaction. So the nucleus breaks up, it releases one of the products called a neutron within the atom. That hits another one, and it splits again, and it hits another one, and it splits again. So you kind of get, as they like to say, this chain reaction, because each reaction generates, as it were, the same response, a fracturing, or a fission, as Jason mentioned. So, and that causes a lot of heat. Now, it's a heat that is captured ultimately. It boils water, just to speak simply. It boils water, and the steam then functions the same way as any of our steam turbines. So it's actually the steam product that turns the turbine, not the uranium itself.
Yes. All right. Well, Mr. Robinson, and then I'll throw it back to you, Mr. Barrett. Your initial thoughts on the establishment and the use of nuclear power to generate our electricity in Jamaica. Mr. Robinson, what do you think about it?
Well, I'm against nuclear power for Jamaica. I mean, what we have seen in the media recently from some of the ministers and Mr. Lee Chin, a businessman who has been really pushing it, is that they want to put small nuclear reactors in Jamaica. That is the new version of nuclear reactors that are being pushed globally. These mini nuclear reactors that they say are less expensive to produce, to build, and they take up less space. However, a lot of that from what I've been seeing is not true. They are still very expensive. Costs have been going up tremendously. But one of the things that we need to look at is that there's none of them in existence in the world yet. There's no track record of these small nuclear reactors. There's a one in production in China, I think, possibly somewhere else. So these small nuclear reactors have no track record. Once you have a nuclear reactor, you need a tremendous availability of skilled labor and the necessary infrastructure to create this plant. I don't know where in Jamaica we would put this. We haven't seen a detailed report released from the government. They said that they have approved the research to go forward, but the design and plan for these nuclear plants take 5 to 7 years, and to build one takes 5 to 7 years. You need a tremendous amount of water for cooling, or you may get a meltdown if it's not sufficient. Can we supply that water? And we are vulnerable to natural disasters. We're in the hurricane zone and the earthquake zone. Most of these plants around the world are built in very developed countries, first world, and they have had issues. Chernobyl, Fukushima was an earthquake. 3 Mile Island in the States had a meltdown. It takes a tremendous amount of security and emergency response as well. I mean, you're looking at the cost of a highly skilled police force, army, and fire department on call 24/7 in case of any issue. Since 2014, there's been close to 100 serious accidents with nuclear reactors, and 60% of those have been in the United States alone. I just think Jamaica's history of lack of transparency, etc., when it comes to extreme projects,
Just testing to see
lends us to have major issues with trying to facilitate a nuclear plant for Jamaica, along with the extreme danger it's going to bring to us should something go wrong.
A mouthful there. Mr. Barrett, your thoughts?
Yes. So, the positives of nuclear tends to be promoted. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yes. I was just telling you I might have to interrupt you because we're nearing a break. Okay, go ahead.
Sure, no problem. So the positives tend to be promoted, i.e., there are no emissions, for example, and that the fuel lasts for a long time, 4 to 5 years sometimes. And I think among all the positives, that might be it. There are significant amount of downsides. One is that the fuel does at some point become poisoned, as Jason pointed out. And so you have to change it. So it's not the concept that you put this fuel in and it's going to be there forever. You'll never have to get any more. And that.
Okay, sorry, Mr. Barrett. We're up on that break. Oh, please, we'll be right back.
Sure.
Play your part in helping us become rock solid and ready. For more information on the National Natural Disaster Risk Financing Policy, visit mof.gov.jm. The time by the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service is
7:15 and a half.
Teachers, teachers, teachers. The Chris and Charles double deal is here for you. Borrow $1 million from Chris and Charles and get 30% off your processing fees. Pay less than $25,000 monthly or borrow $575,000 and pay $12,595 monthly. No guarantor needed. Conditions apply. Offer ends May 31, 2023. Call 876-920-4189 for details. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
I am just a little girl, but I have big dreams. And one day, all my dreams are going to come true. That's why I'm glad Mommy opened a Surgical Bank Star Savers account for me. It's the best gift she could ever give me. Because one day, I won't be little anymore. And my small savings are going to grow big. I even got my own debit card. Give your child a gift that will grow. Open a Surgical Bank Star Savers account today.
More savings, more Active Home Center is excited to announce its anniversary sale in Montego Bay. Come and join us to celebrate and save on a wide range of products. From May 15 to May 18, we are offering store-wide savings of up to 40% off selected items. Don't miss out on this fantastic opportunity to grab amazing deals on tiles, bathrooms, lighting, and more. Conditions apply. So visit us today and take advantage of these limited time offers.
More savings, more choices. Save in style every time you shop at Home and Things. Find all the top brands at the best prices. Grab a deal on porcelain, ceramic and mosaic tiles, fixtures and faucets for kitchen and bathroom, windows and doors, lighting, home decor, and more. Yes, you can save in style on just about everything in store. Old Hope Road and Constant Spring Road. Shop for store-wide savings today at Home and Things. Brands you know, brands you can trust.
Come on, just say it. Say it with Oreo. Win $1 million and other grand prizes with a Say It with Oreo promotion while having fun with your family. Entering is easy. 1. Buy 5 packs of limited edition Say It with Oreo. 2. You have 4 ways to enter. In-store drop-offs in participating stores. Mail in your entry to P.O. Box 2000 CSO. Enter via WhatsApp at 876-284-8300 or online at www.oreopromotions.com. 3. Provide your contact information as instructed for a chance to win one of 3 grand prizes: cash, a family trip, or a TV and PlayStation set. So, what are you waiting for? Participate now. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And in this, the first watch, we're looking on nuclear power. Can it come to the rescue of our electricity energy bills? And in so doing, we have online Mr. Jason Robinson, Vice President of the Jamaica Renewable Energy Association. He's also the CEO of Solar Buzz Jamaica. And also Mr. David Barrett, Certified Energy Manager. I think before the break, Mr. Barrett, you were giving us your initial thoughts on the establishment and use of nuclear power in Jamaica. Continue, sir.
Right. So as I said, upsides are no emission, but also very low operating costs. The downsides, however, one, the fuel cannot be disposed of. As long as nuclear plants have been operating, there has been no disposal option. It's merely storage within a safe containment and burial, but no disposal. So that's a huge environmental issue. the safety of the operations tends to be something that's highly promoted. But bear in mind, the challenge you have is if you do have an accident, the kind of impact would be devastating for Jamaica as far as I'm concerned. If you look just at Chernobyl,
region, other parts of the region too.
Yes, Chernobyl accident alone impacted almost 20 other European nations just from the dust that blew from that country into the others. For Fukushima, the water was contaminated. They were finding radioactive products in milk, in fish, and so on. And it is possible to have some level of leakage into your water. As Jason pointed out, you need water to cool many of these systems. And that water can then carry some of the radioactive products. So you can see our aquatic systems being affected because these systems are normally placed close to a water source, a sea, lake, that kind of large body of water. So you can have cooling. But even if you use helium, which is used for these small pebble bed reactors, the SMRs, small modular reactors, that gas is carrying temperatures of 900 degrees centigrade, right? So if you have any fault or flaw in the cooling down process, you can have a significant negative accident. So those are things that we have to be concerned about. Also bear in mind that we still have to purchase the fuel from an external source. Jamaica should be driving at using all our indigenous sources, or solar, hydro, wind, biomass, all our indigenous sources, get out of the market for purchasing fuel from external sources, right? And then you will have to have significant arrangements to have these other countries or countries which supply us with nuclear to take that fuel back. As it is, we're having a difficult time just with plastic, right? So, I think it's not suitable for us right now. And as Jason said, the small modular bed systems have not really been applied. Had the first one that was approved by the International Energy Agency.
Yeah, Mr. Barrett, can you hear me?
Yes.
Right.
I can hear you.
Based on what both of you have said so far, one would assume that our government, our leaders, are au fait with at least half of this information. How is it that it's being pushed now as a possibility, as a proposal? What could be behind that thought process, Mr. Barrett?
All right. So I would say the main driver is lowering the cost of electricity generation and sale, right? Nuclear can do that. So I think that is the biggest driver. I can't see why else, unless it's just trendy to talk about these things. But I think Jamaica is mature enough to focus on what's good for our energy security and the safety of our people, to move away from something that perhaps sounds good and has perhaps just one assumed benefit. If we're thinking about replacing generation, I mean, Jason's company and others doing solar, we know how to replace, fossil generation. That's not a problem.
Yeah. Yes. And as you talk about alternatives now, I believe that LNG, Mr. Robinson, was touted as one of the main solutions. And now we're hearing that when you look back on it, the electricity bills have not been greatly reduced over the years. Can you explain that for us? And why shouldn't we not therefore be looking at nuclear?
Well, as David pointed out correctly, that with nuclear, we'd still be buying the products from another source. It was the same thing with LNG. When the LNG plan was being promoted, the renewable energy sector warned against putting all our eggs in one basket for a commodity, because there's a risk of the price going up. And that's exactly what has happened. No one could have foreseen COVID and supply chain issues that happened, but these things happen. That is life. It's the ability to adapt to change. But when you put yourself in a position where you are now have put back to LNG and the price skyrockets when there is an issue, our energy costs, when we were promised by the then Minister of Energy, Philip Hallwell, was that we get single digit energy costs from LNG, and we're more, our energy bills are higher than they've ever been, because I get energy bills every day for a living. That's what I do, analyze them, and they are at the highest they've been with LNG deployed, and that is why we think that, you know, distributed rooftop solar made available through more accessible financing through the institutions and the NHT are the solution that's available right now for everyone in Jamaica. Nuclear is going to take 10 to 15 years. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're going to say, Mr. Robinson, that you're expected to be saying that, you know, CEO of Solar Buzz.
Yes.
Yes. But are there no other alternatives that we need to address and to explore?
Well, yeah, I mean, I know, saying that I'm expected to say it, of course, you go into business and hopefully do what you love and you find a passion. Nuclear wasn't my passion. So I'm going to go into the business of solar energy because I like to give people independent power. So I will promote independent solar energy power that has proven to be the best source of energy in the last decade. And I will continue to do so. You know, I don't regret that. And, you know, I think there should be an energy mix. I'm not saying solar is the only answer, let's shut down everything else. I'm saying solar energy with plus storage is the immediate answer that's available right now by Solar Buzz and many other good companies in Jamaica. We have solar battery storage, and we need resilient power in homes and businesses because we're in a hurricane zone. So we can provide that now, but what the industry lacks is financing from the institutions that's quick and readily available. And the NHT, I think, needs to adjust some of their policies as well to allow new mortgages to include solar energy. These are things the government could do with the stroke of a pen, but they have refused to because we've been asking for them for over a decade. So to go and say we should go back centralized power again, dangerous centralized nuclear power that could wipe out half the population of Jamaica if something goes wrong, instead of deploying distributed rooftop energy solar with battery storage into everyone's home so that everyone can have backup power immediately, and then look at other alternatives over the next 10 to 15 years, I think would be a mistake.
Hear loud and clear. So, Mr. Barrett, what else apart from the solar should we be looking at even more?
Well, yeah, I mean, we still have opportunities for hydropower, which, you know, over 7 locations have been identified as having good opportunity. And you can add to just a straight hydro, and you can do hydro pump storage, where you can move that water during the day using solar or wind up to an elevation, and then at nights or other times you can release that water. So that's another option. We still haven't done anything about waste to energy. Waste to energy technology uses everything that's combustible within our dumps or landfills to produce energy. And it's not just an energy solution, it's also hygiene and waste management solution. We haven't gotten that off the ground yet. And of course, wind continues to be a good opportunity for us, not just onshore, but offshore. Let me just touch on floating solar is also another another technology which is right there. So we do have options. We do have local options. I'm going to be very specific. We have local options.
So we have the water, the wind, and the waste that we can deal with. In terms of the hydro, though, with Jamaica's you know, water concerns, even in a regular year, how would that work? So, Barrett?
Well, the hydro plants that we use are fairly small. They don't cut off water use from other social or agricultural uses. So it doesn't present concern about hydro, of course, is that you have to do your geological studies, you have to do your environmental studies. But yeah, we do have some resources. I wouldn't put a lot on that. You know,
believe it or not, we have to leave it there, gentlemen. Thank you so very much for what I regard as an informative, insightful, and interesting discussion on this whole matter of nuclear energy. And it seems to me that we are saying no to this, at least on this program so far. Have a productive day, gentlemen.
Thank you, Dr. Toussaint. You too. Thanks, David.
Listeners, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
Bank Small Business Loans. Tell us your business and let's turn your ambitions into reality. The time by JN Bank Small Business Loans is
7:30.
They're full of life. You're full of love. They're carefree. You care more. That's why we created Child Protector, a critical illness insurance plan from Sagicor Life. It provides coverage for your child in the event of 15 critical illnesses, hospitalization benefits, life insurance, and investment benefits. So make sure your child can live life to the fullest. Apply for Sagicor Child Protector today.
Jamaica, let us arrive alive. We know everyone has somewhere to be or someone to see. Whether you are going on a trip, headed to a party, running errands, getting gifts, or visiting family and friends. Arrive alive. Slow down. There's no rush. Look out for yourself and others. Don't let your life be a statistic. Too many Jamaicans are dying on our roads, so take time on the road. Arrive alive.
a message from the Office of the Prime Minister.
Teachers, teachers, teachers. The Chris and Charles double deal is here for you. Borrow $1 million from Chris and Charles and get 30% off your processing fees. Pay less than $25,000 monthly or borrow $575,000 and pay $12,595 monthly. No guarantor needed. Conditions apply. Offer ends May 31, 2023. Call 876-920-4189 for details. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
We're celebrating 30 years of music proudly. 30 years of love. We're celebrating 30 years of music proudly. 30 years of love. We're celebrating 30 years of love. We're celebrating 30 years of love. 30 years of love.
Save in style every time you shop at Home and Things. Find all the top brands at the best prices. Grab a deal on porcelain, ceramic and mosaic tiles, fixtures and faucets for kitchen and bathroom, windows and doors, lighting, home decor and more. Yes, you can save in style. Hope Road and Constant Spring Road. Shop for store-wide savings today at Home and Things. Brands you know, brands you can trust.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. In the Observer, government to get rid of life certificate regime for pensioners. Also in the Observer, salaries soar. Big increase for political directorate and permanent secretaries. In the Gleaner, teachers want fair due. And then Juliet Holness denies bully claims in real estate development lawsuit. In Loop News, cops identify British woman held with 29 million worth of cocaine in Mobay. And also in Loop News, RGD to print birth certificates in Braille, says Floyd Green. We're happy to hear about that development, certainly. Well, coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our social media question. Are you for or against nuclear power generation? Why or why not? Please Leave a comment on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. Soon come back.
This Wednesday at 11 a.m. on Good Morning Minister, host Minister Robert Morgan speaks with Senator the Honorable Albin Hill, Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce. Remember to call or text in with your comments, questions and concerns. That's Good Morning Minister, Wednesday, May 17 at 11 a.m. on the family station, Love 101.
Hey, small people! Listen up. Join us weekdays, Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. for the Small People Show with Auntie Colleen. Yes, every day we have something educational and fun for you to enjoy. Plus, on a fifth Friday, you get a chance to hail up your friends and community, and you could win a prize too. That's the Small People Show, where we aim to build characters and empower our small people for the future. Remember to tell a friend and stay for the fun. It's the Small People Show with Auntie Colleen on the family station, Love 101.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now join Jukal for a look at how our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp friends answered today's question. Are you for or against nuclear power generation? Why or why not? Jukal?
All right, so I do have some responses here. This one is from Monica. Monica says, good morning. I am very wary of Jamaica's ability to safely implement and manage nuclear power stations. If developed, stations had or have had nuclear disaster. 3 Mile Island in the USA and Chernobyl in Russia comes to mind. If the inefficiency of present utility companies are any indication, then I wouldn't support such a venture. This one says, there's a thought my grandmother would say, is not every drum beat you should dance to. That is what the government is doing, dancing to every beat other countries play. The government seems not to have the priorities in order. The government can hardly control a spillage in the Rio Cobre, much less nuclear. Jamaica is good, I mean excellent, without this nuclear plant. Somebody else says, good morning all. I'm against nuclear power. It can be deadly if leaked into the water supply, etc. And those are some responses we have here on WhatsApp.
It's not every
it's not every drum beat you must dance too. Wow, all right.
Well said.
Well said, well said.
All right. We want to thank those who responded, interested responses. Okay. As we now go into the second watch, it has been fairly established, especially in the past 2 to 3 years, that social media is vital to the growth and the promotion of just about any business. Some businesses are even solely and wholly social media driven. Are there risks in using social media for your business? Is social media the savior of your business? Well, to answer these and other related questions, we have joining us Mr. Victor Brown, Sales and Marketing Supervisor here at Love 101, and Miss Charmian-Marie Beedle, Digital Brand and Communication Specialist, CEO of Bold Content Jamaica, and the Purpose Business and Brand Coach. Good morning to you both.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Hi.
Yes, good to have you both with us. Trust you are doing well. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this may sound like an archaic question, but what really is social media? And what are the main types of social media? Let me throw that at you, Victor, Mr. Brown.
Well, I thought you were going to let the specialist begin. But social media in layman's terms, because I think it's best for our audience if you can understand in simplified terms. Social media are digital platforms that are used to connect people. So any web-based platform or application that is used to connect people, used for communication and expression of ideas. That's on a simple level. That's what social media really boils down to.
Yeah, expression of ideas and what?
And connecting people for communication purposes.
Right. And are there different types that you want to highlight?
Absolutely. I can pull for the most common cliche examples just because those are most relatable. There's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's YouTube. These are just some of the basic ones. Twitter, LinkedIn. Those are some of the most common ones that people can relate to.
Yeah. And here's why I leave this question for you now, Mrs. Beedle. Anecdotally, how widespread would you say is the use of social media today? And are there any demographics behind it that we need to take note of in terms of age, gender, financial ability, all those things?
So I'm actually happy that you've asked that question because what I found over my years of, working in social media is that, there are billions of persons on each social media platform, and daily you literally have persons joining the different social media platforms. However, since we're speaking also about Jamaica, a reality is that as much as, fairly recently, not many persons had access to, Wi-Fi freely and stuff like that, you still had a vast number of individuals who were joining the different platforms, especially TikTok, which really, skyrocketed in the pandemic. And of course, Instagram, which, as much as, persons are against, the way that Instagram is developing itself, still has like a decent hub of persons. And you still have the persons who would have been, the older cusp millennials, really still clinging to like Facebook, as well as the generations above. So I would say, especially in Jamaica, we have Instagram, Facebook, as well as TikTok, and then you'll always have Twitter. There's Jamaican Twitter here, and that's really booming. So in terms of the demographics, you have persons literally daily on social media overall. So it's overall the platforms are growing day by day because of the possibilities that exist within them.
And are there any specifics that we need to bear in mind in regards to demographics? Is it that more so the young people, certain age, the gender,
Right.
more female than male, or vice versa?
So I'm happy you asked for that specific. So you find that females tend to use social media differently from, of course, the way men do. And that's primarily because, women, we express ourselves differently. And so, we're more into, showcasing like how we look and what we think and stuff like that. Whereas the men, I find that, when it comes to tech, when it comes to gaming, when it comes to, those types of things, they really do their own, they have their own vibe on social media. In terms of the age differences, so I would say between 13 and 21, thereabouts. I mean, that's a wide gap, but they use social media quite differently. I would say that they're mainly on TikTok, they're mainly on Snapchat. They also like Twitter. But also it's really the ages 22 to 35 that I would say primarily use social media for a wider range of things. So it's not just personal, but also when they're doing research about where they want to invest, where they want to get answers about a certain thing. So they use social media as more between like personal expression as well as like a search engine. Like I don't know if you've ever heard of search engine optimization. So they ask their questions and they find their answers directly through social media. And then of course the persons who are above the age of 35, so you have about 36 to about 55, I would say safely. They really use it primarily to keep in touch with persons they haven't seen in a while. They possibly might still use it for search engine optimization, but it's really mostly about effective networking for them.
Yes. So if persons are using it for all different purposes, these demographics ought to be borne in mind. Are you saying that? Are you agreeing with that?
Definitely, completely.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Let me just bring him back in, Victor here, Mr. Brown. Generally speaking, how is social media beneficial, therefore, to businesses? You are marketing supervisor and sales at Love 101.
Yes.
How does it benefit?
There are a lot, but I can list a few of them. Just, given the limited time that we have to delve into this. Start with digital transformation.
Okay, sorry, Victor. Before we start, therefore, we're actually up on a break. All right, hold that thought. We'll be right back.
No problem. All right.
Sardine for the chef and the beginner. Follow the one with pepper, that are the winner. Shop on supermarkets, everybody selling
sardines. Follow the better flavor.
The time is
7:45.
Save in style every time you shop at Home and Things. Find all the top brands at the best prices. Grab a deal on porcelain, ceramic and mosaic tiles, fixtures and faucets for kitchen and bathroom, windows and doors, lighting, home decor and more. Yes, you can save in style on just about everything in store. Old Hope Road and Constant Spring Road. Shop for store-wide savings today at Home and Things. Brands you know, brands you can trust.
Teachers, teachers, teachers. The Chris and Charles double deal is here for you. Borrow $1 million from Chris and Charles and get 30% off your processing fees. Pay less than $25,000 monthly or borrow $575,000 and pay $12,595 monthly. No guarantor needed. Conditions apply. Offer ends May 31, 2023. Call 876-920-4189 for details. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
Tell me where you get the money transferred. Where you get the money transferred. Where you get the money transferred. Money move like a bird, like a plane, it's a blur. Money quick, money fast, money reach in a flash. This your agent to run out of cash.
Get your Mother's Day mommy transfer at Alliance, May 5 to May 27, and you could be one of 14 moms to win 50,000 Jamaican dollars. One winner from each parish.
Tell me where you get the money transferred.
Alliance, a member of Satco Group Jamaica. Conditions apply.
We've been through years and valleys, always rocking. The Lord stayed with us for sure. And every time we thought it was over, the Lord gave us hope.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on J&B Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. J&B Bank will help you find a way.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And in this, the second watch, we have been looking on the value of social media to any business. And in so doing, we have online Mrs. Charmian-Marie Beedle, digital brand and communication specialist and CEO of Bold Content Jamaica, and Mr. Victor Brown of Love FM, sales and marketing supervisor. Before the break, Victor, you're telling us about some of the ways in which social media essentially can be beneficial to business. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So there are lots of ways that social media can benefit pretty much any business, but three of the top ones that I think we can definitely mention and highlight today are digital transformation. So you would have found that over the last decade, most successful businesses have had to move away from paper, writing, ledgers. At the JCF Expo that went last week, one of the things that they highlighted, for example, was moving away from the big black book in the police station, which is something really needed to change decades ago. So now you're giving police reports, it's now digital. There's a network and pooling of information. Police stations are now better able to correlate and correspond different reports of crimes. And so you find that even the ticketing system has now gone digital. And so you find that optimizing your business, a big part of it is going digital and moving away from the very labor-intensive, archaic approach of writing things down and typing up documents. Going paperless and digitizing everything is one of the biggest ways that social media helps, because when that is done, the second one at least, when that is done, you are able to collect better data. The businesses that are able to thrive today are data-driven businesses. Gone are the days of business leaders making decisions on a whim or on a feeling or because somebody tell them so. No, all the research, all marketing conferences and sales conventions, the leaders in industry and commerce are all resoundingly saying that the way that business leaders are making decisions now are based on data. So when a business is digitized, they're able to collect better data on their customer behavior. They're able to identify ideal buyer personas to target certain demographics of the market space. They're able to do things like market segmentation, where they're able to graphically represent who is in the market space and how they should go after these people, creating customized marketing campaigns and sales campaigns and all these things. And all of this now leads to the third one, being connecting a network of persons and building a community. Because what we have found is that the research indicates that people don't connect with companies and people don't connect with brands. People connect with people. And so the leading companies and brands are leading their sales efforts, their marketing efforts with faces, names, and people. Because that's what social media does. It brings people together, connects them, and allows for communication, as what I started in my definition by saying. It allows for communication between people. And so digitizing one's brand, going digital, and of course, getting better data optimization in your business operations allows you to create a very robust, active, engaged community. And then that definitely benefits your bottom line. People are more willing to spend because they trust your brand equity is up. And people definitely connect to your brand. You have a lot of return customers, referrals, repeat business, that sort of thing to drive the bottom line. So these are some of the ways that social media and the different platforms helps to promote it. One final one I'll say is that it allows you to establish yourself as a business leader. So you find that all the best brands now, they set themselves apart from the competition because on a LinkedIn account, they are producing articles, setting themselves apart as thought leaders in the space. So instead of just posting, they're now releasing white papers and reputable peer-reviewed articles online to say, hey, this is the direction that tech is going. This is the direction that consumer products are going. And here's why you should partner with our brand, because we know what we're doing and we're experts in the field and we're doing the research. So these are just a few of the ways that social media and digitization can help businesses.
Yes, now even more now we know why you are the sales and marketing supervisor. Charmian?
Hey.
Still with us. All right. You want to add anything to what Victor said a while ago?
I'm happy that you asked the question. Right. So he is completely correct. And what I wanted to do was kind of, add on to that by saying, so what he's talking about is primarily also when persons are establishing themselves as thought leaders and authorities in the space, as we like to call it, they're actually like really working on their personal branding. They want to make sure that people, want to hear their voice in a specific thing. So what people are also doing and to establish themselves as thought leaders and stuff. So it's not even just the articles and, the blogs that are written and, the newsletters that are shared as well, but also you have the rise of podcasting. Right? Podcasting, which is, basically, online radio and you, putting out your own thoughts. And the beauty of podcasting, and it works in tandem with the blogging and it works in tandem, with the other things that they're doing online. And then again, as I mentioned earlier, search engine optimization. If you want to literally hold the space in relation to a specific topic or a specific industry, you ensure that the keywords relating to your episode and your blogs and everything are all cohesive. We call it brand cohesiveness. And so anybody who is looking for answers in relation to an industry or a specific topic, you want to make sure that you are top of mind. So you want to make sure that you are ranking in the searches and stuff. So saying that to say, as Victor mentioned earlier, it's really you being more strategic with positioning yourself to be found by your people, right? And as he mentioned earlier as well, the matter of connectivity, I don't know if you realize, and I don't know if you're a fan of any of them, but the idea of reality TV and
I'm not.
Oh, Okay, no problem. But a vast majority of persons in the 21 to 35 or 22 to 35 age group are huge fans of reality TV because they like seeing the real things. They like feeling that they can journey with somebody and all of that, which is why personal branding actually does exceptionally well on social media.
Perhaps we turn a program to reality TV because I don't like the title. I don't like the name. I don't think it's reality. But that's another discussion. Charmian, what types of social media are most beneficial in this regard then for reaching out in terms of businesses?
So I have a personal bias that I share with all of my clients, and I believe it's Instagram. Instagram completely has multiple ways that you can connect with people on the one platform. So you don't feel like you have to be like clicking here, there, and everywhere. People can access you with long form video, short form video, photos, like every single, media type is facilitated on Instagram. So I definitely highly recommend Instagram, especially for businesses that are just starting out and just getting a feel of how social media can really help to skyrocket their sales.
Victor, in what ways can social media therefore be harmful or detrimental? I mean, we have looked at the positives. What about the other side of the coin?
I mean, we have seen so many articles, so many news things coming up with social media being the end of businesses. With cancel culture at its peak right now, and with persons being, the world evolving, as it were. The digital space is not exempt from, being kind of mercenary and Machiavellian when it comes on to, just not really letting things go. They say things live on forever in the internet, and it's so true. You find that so many brands and companies on a quest to grow and to build their notoriety, to build their brand. You have something that can go wrong, but then if this thing goes wrong, it's the days when you're making mistakes in the dark and in the quiet and it goes quietly. Those are gone. Now there's a camera, now there's footage, now there's video evidence, now there is a post, now there is a deleted tweet that somebody screenshot before it went. And brands just don't get to live that down the way they used to be able to. And so you find that it makes building your brand now tricky. It makes why people like Charmian, as an expert in your field, become so important for people to have and to use as a consultant, because you think you can do it on your own, but you don't understand the minefield of navigating data with things like the Data Protection Act that is now coming into effect December 1. It becomes even more tricky because businesses before that were, growing their online presence and collecting data through wonderful things like surveys and polls and feeling very proud of themselves. Now they are forced to hire DPOs. Now they're forced to get compliant to the Data Protection Act. Now they're forced to do DPIAs, which are these impact assessment, data protection impact assessments, to find out if their organizations are protecting the data of their subjects the right way. And if they're not, there are fines, there are massive fines and even imprisonment, sanctions attached. So, I mean, navigating social media can be fun, it can be enriching, and it can be extremely beneficial to your company. But I would say there are minefields to watch out for. You don't get to leave things down like you used to. People hold on to data and things like images, videos, things that are posted. You find that an employee in a branded shirt doing something stupid on the internet now becomes a reflection of the brand, and that's a nightmare for PR. People and tear their hero when they see these things. And so, the minefield has several pitfalls that you have to be careful when you're navigating that digital landscape.
Yeah. So Victor mentioned minefields at least twice. Charmian, any suggestions, recommendations as we wrap our discussion? Very quickly, in a minute.
In terms of suggestions or recommendations, honestly, if you're starting out on social media and you don't necessarily have the budget to hire a digital consultant, just do your very best to keep things as transparent and light as possible, but focus primarily on really getting persons to connect with your brand and ensure that they can make informed decisions as to why they should journey with your brand without feeling forced and without feeling like all you care about is the numbers. Build a community that feels safe with you, and that is actually the key to really succeeding and building a community that will buy into what you're selling.
Yes. And Victor, quickly.
Yeah, I would say invest in your business. people like Charmian are experts in the field. You need to invest in your business. If you're serious about growing and scaling your business and adding value to your customers, you really want to provide customer satisfaction at a profit.
Okay.
That's what it means to run a good business. And so invest in your business by getting experts to assist in marketing.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your thoughts and time this morning. I think we learned a lot, reminded of a lot, and now we know about many of the minefields. Have a productive day.
You too. Thank you.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again tomorrow as we continue to set the stage for a discussion of topical and controversial issues. For information on how to get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-9596-7. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and our guests. I'm Dylan Toussaint, and you're back to Love in the Morning with Jukal Daya.
The Morning Watch was brought to you today by Home and Things. Get everything you need to renovate your space with brands you know, brands you can trust. Visit us at 17 Old Hope Road and Constant Spring Road. Also, Chris